We could just get started with questions.
Do you guys have any questions?
Hi, Coach. Sorry. So my first question is just I feel like these past couple games, BC's really been a second half team. You see you guys really picking things up in the second half. I just want to know from your perspective, what do you think was different today? Just regarding where do you think you guys fell short?
Yeah, I think we fell short, I think, in two areas. One, especially in the second quarter, we let their really good defense dictate what we could get on offense. So we didn't stick to the game plan of using screens and doing what we wanted to do. We kind of let them kind of bully us into rush shots or four shots, and so that was a really bad offensive quarter for us. And then I thought throughout the game, I mean, we shot the ball pretty poorly and we didn't make up with it with our offensive rebounding. So they kind of handled us on the boards really well in that game. And that was something that we talked about. When you're playing a good team like they are, you have to at least be even on the boards and give yourself an opportunity. And us only getting 8 offensive boards with how poorly we shot the ball is kind of unacceptable in my opinion. But they're also really big, and they do that's why they're the number 1 defensive team in the country, is because they do a nice job moving and blocking out. And I think that we will grow from this game, and hopefully we take out our frustration and everything out on the next game, because it's a quick turnaround for us to go to Notre Dame.
And then I was also wondering, in a game like this where you're struggling to get the ball in the net, what player did you see stepping up and sort of taking the charge and keeping the energy high when, I think the tendency for most people would be to get pretty deflated and to start feeling down?
I think that's where this team is pretty unique in their grittiness. I felt like they never had that look of defeat on their faces. So I can really count on Taylor Soule to go 100% of the time, regardless of the score, regardless of what's going on. She's always has that mentality, like we're down 2 with 40 seconds left. She just plays hard. Marnell, same thing. She gets after it. She's going to defend. And then I think that trickles down to the rest of the team. So I think I really rely on those two as our captains and seniors to get the best out of everybody, and they do a pretty good job of it.
Coach, when you face a team that's as good defensively like Georgia Tech is, is there an expectation going in that that this is going to be, a grind offensively, and then when you turn that around coming out of this, how much of this do you put into saying, all right, this was just playing one of the best defenses in the country to keep at what you're doing versus, going back, learning and trying to make adjustments based off of what you saw? Right.
I think some of the learning curve for us, especially for our freshman post players, is, defending that high-low. I think even for, I'm sure you guys noticed with the way the box score went, Love kind of had her way a little bit, especially in the first half. And that our game plan was in Cam picking her up to kind of make sure we still were on her. And I think we lost that assignment a little bit. So I think sometimes where we key in on a couple of players trying to take them out of the game, that those secondary players then can't go off. And so we have to learn and grow from that. But we still want to stay true to us. And this game certainly doesn't define us. That was a really good team, and we shot the ball really poorly. And we knew coming into this game, we weren't going to be able to win it without making shots. And, not having Michaela Dickens, that was a little bit of a wrench in our side, I think, because that could have been another scorer and another quick release shooter coming off the bench. So, not to make any excuses, we just got to play better. We got to make shots when we're open, but we got to hit the boards. And that's how you combat not making shots, right? You hit the offensive boards, and we just didn't do that.
I have to let you leave now before they apparently kick you out, turn the lights out.
What's going on here?
But the last piece of this is just with learning how to play against teams that are considered tournament teams, or learning to compete against that next tier. Every year, I feel like every team has to learn how to to do that. And for this team, I know that that's a reasonable expectation from you, but how much of this is then becomes the learning experience to say, okay, we know what a tournament team can do. We've played and beaten tournament type teams. And now, this game turned this one around in the same vein.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the case when you have like Maria, Riri in there, Ali Van Timmeren, Dontavia. I think there's a big learning curve for them, right? Without question. But our other players, they know what it's all about, in my opinion. I think that they understand how vital each possession is. And, we said that in this game, it was going to be a fight each possession. And, that second quarter, us only scoring 6 points, that was miserable for me anyways, because I thought our defense finally turned up a notch in that quarter and we looked a little bit better defensively, but we couldn't capitalize on anything on the other end. And in the second half, we only had 5 turnovers. The problem is when we did turn over the ball in this game, they were like live ball turnovers, which for them translate. I mean, they had 16 points off our turnovers. That, to me, that just that kills me. They had 16 turnovers, but we only had 9 points off of them because a lot of them were dead ball turnovers where they would throw the ball out of bounds. So for me, this is just a frustrating game. I mean, I'm frustrated, but I hope we can take that frustration out on Notre Dame because I really expect us to shoot the ball a little bit better today and just do a little bit better job on the boards. But I was proud of our fight. And I do think anybody that actually sat and watched the game, that doesn't just look at the score or look at the stats, will say, hey, that BC team, they fought their asses off in that game. But it just wasn't quite enough because they got themselves in a hole with their lack of offensive efficiency and their lack of rebounding.